welcome once again to another episode of Stu Him Productions presents
J&M Solve the World
Alcohol Review. Coming to you live from the J&M Bar and Lounge.
I am James.
And I am Matt. And if you watched last week, which I know you did, because you are a follower, you're a subscriber, you've got your notification bell on, and you've given us a thumbs up. And you've shared us with your friends, your families.
Even your enemies.
Yes. And as James and I used to say back in the 90s, the more you drink,
the better we sound.
Exactly. But tonight, we are going kind of back, I'd say, almost to our roots, if you will. But before we get into that, let's get the ice in the glasses.
This is still a work in progress.
Yes, you may notice that the lighting is a little different. With, oh shit, I'm all up in the microphone. With something new, there always comes challenges. And why do everything and then decide, that won't work, and we don't do it?
But you don't know until you try.
Exactly. But tonight, we have something special.
What do you have for us tonight? That's so special.
Okay. Pendleton Whiskey Military Edition. Cut with the fine. It's a. Wow. This is. Wow. So.
Fill us in.
It's a blended Canadian whiskey.
Oh, okay.
We haven't done a Canadian whiskey.
Not officially.
Correct.
I've drank a lot of Canadian whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
In the past,
so
but
it is 80 proof. Yeah. And from what I can tell,
break out your knife.
excuse me while I whip this out.
For those of you just listening, Matt is trying to open this bottle without cutting off a finger.
Yes. I injured myself about a year ago, actually over a year ago, tearing my ACL, my MCL, my meniscus. I'm sorry. Destroying my ACL and tearing my MCL and meniscus.
You just fucked up your whole knee, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got the plastic off.
Yay.
What the fuck is that?
At least doing these alcohol reviews now, I don't have to worry about getting punched in the face when you pull that fucking cork out.
Very true. Okay, we got the plastic off.
Ooh, it's a...
Go for the smell test. Not too strong of a
I was
smell.
going to say, not much of a smell.
No.
Make it extra noise.
But we have a good color. Dedicated and hang on. Put the cork back on this.
That'd be a good
There we
idea.
go. Dedicated and support a portion of every bottle is. I have my eyeballs on.
But you need more light.
Yes. Dedicated, a tradition of dedication and support. A portion of every bottle is donated to the Bob Woodruff Foundation. We've got your B. It means we've got your back, and it's an enduring commitment that our service members and veterans make to each other and to our country. A promise of camaraderie and support on the battlefield and beyond. Pendleton Whiskey and the Bob Woodruff Foundation have teamed up to provide that meaningful long-term support to our veterans and their families with challenges they face after service. Together, we've got your B. Pendleton's distinct flavor profile features notes of warm fall fruit, honey, and vanilla balanced by a hint of spice. Let's see here. Okay, so now that I have light, cut with the finest glacier-fed spring water from Oregon's highest peak, Mount Hood.
Thought you said it was Canadian.
It is.
So it must run off of Mount Hood into Canada?
Or they export the water from Mount Hood to Canada. Honor, respect, and support their bravery. Pendleton Whiskey, we got your 6 is right on the label. And before we get into the tasting, a few things that I do want to mention. If you are having any sort of problems, you just need to talk to someone. Star 988 from any phone, mobile, payphone, landline, star 988. It is the National Suicide Hotline. Someone is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you're not alone. You're never alone.
Don't use a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Correct.
I think that's how that goes, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. But back to the alcohol, we're going to dip our stogies in the Pendleton Whiskey.
You know, I guess we should do the disclaimer also that if you have an alcohol or drug problem, even though you're watching the alcohol review, there is help there too.
Yes.
I don't have a number off the top of my head.
Nope.
But maybe we ought to start doing that disclaimer as well. You know, kind of like, you know, DraftKings knows.
Yeah.
If you have a gambling call, you know, since we're doing an
1-800 bets off.
Right. So maybe we ought to do an alcohol disclaimer too. You know,
we could do
if
that.
you're having problems.
Yeah.
You know.
I will look into that.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get with our production team.
Okay.
And I'm going to have them put it right across the bottom right now.
There you go.
So if you're listening, you're going to have to watch the podcast to get that number. Now,
if you're listening on Spotify, just open
it
up
back
your
up.
Spotify and watch this part again.
You know, and you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. If you would like to send us a bottle that you would like us to review, you can send it to J&M Solve the World Alcohol Review at
2120 East 342nd Road, Halfway, Missouri, 65663.
And make sure that you put J&M Solve the World Alcohol Review so we know to review it. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you know, you want to make sure that you have your name in there, your screen name, so we can shout you out and we can let everybody know.
All your social media information so we can shout it out.
We can tag you whenever we do.
If you got an OnlyFans or whatever, you know, I mean, we'll advertise for you if you send us a bottle to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in today's world, I don't judge anybody off of what they do to make money, as long as it's not
illegal.
Exactly. Trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to leave it at that, at trafficking.
Mm-hmm. Not DraftKings, trafficking.
Yes. Trafficking. Yes. But, you know what? Let's go ahead.
And our rule of thumb on our alcohol reviews, we've mentioned this many times, but just to reiterate, that's a big word.
Yes.
We try to keep our bottles that we're trying at the $50 range. We kind of call that the
Blue collar.
Under $50. Not all of everything we do is $50. A lot of it's
Right.
30, 25,
hell,
19.
We did a 100 proof spiced rum that I got for $7.
Right.
That's fucking amazing.
Exactly. But you know, if you want to send us something that's $150 or $300, whatever, I mean, we'll review it. You know, just let us know what it costs. That way we can inform people.
Yes.
You know, so they don't go, well, goddamn, J&M said this is really great shit. It's $300.
Yeah. Now, now we have said that we will not try or review or drink a bottle of Old Number 7 on this podcast. But if somebody wanted to send us a Sinatra special, it will go right here.
Right. Just saying.
And you may have noticed if you tuned in last week that the Rock and Roll Mango Tequila bottle is still up there. Well, haven't come across the bottle that is more interesting yet.
It's just cool.
It's a fucking guitar.
Right.
And we were in a band.
And we normally, at our normal podcast, have guitars behind us.
Yes.
So, there you go.
Bada boom, bada bing. But here we go for the palate cleanser, if you will.
Salud.
Salud.
See, how long have we been doing alcohol reviews? I mean, we're starting season 4 of our podcast here.
2 years?
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this falls in that category. It amazes me the off-the-wall different stuff we have found that is way smoother than the shit we grew up on thinking was supposed to be good shit.
Yes.
Like the Old Number 7 and...
I mean, there's so many brands nowadays that growing up, and we grew up in 2 different areas. Mm-hmm. Growing up in Illinois, it was...
People's Republic.
Yes. Well, at the time, I didn't really think about it.
Right. You lived there. You didn't.
Yeah. And I was a kid.
You weren't carrying a gun back
No.
then. So.
But you had Jack, Jim, Jose. You know, that was the big 3. The 3 wise men, if you will.
Around here at Canadian Mist,
Mm-hmm.
Crown, yeah, I mean, that was... I didn't know anybody that drank scotch when I was a kid.
No.
That was like an old man drink.
Yeah, scotch.
That's why I drink.
Gin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are an old man.
I am an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, gin was around, but yeah, Beefeaters.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anybody that drank it. I mean, in my circle and right after high school and stuff, or before I got married the first time and after the divorce, yeah, those whiskeys you said, and most people drink beer.
Right. Right.
You know, Budweiser, Busch.
Yeah.
Coors.
I mean, if
you couldn't get Coors in Illinois back then, could you? Because I know there was a time that you couldn't get Coors east of the Mississippi.
You know what?
it-
I
'cause-
honestly I couldn't tell you because when I was in high school in Illinois, it was Mad Dog 2020, and then we would get every now and then.
Boone's Farm strawberry.
Oh no,
Nope.
no.
No.
We were men. We
Oh.
were classy.
Oh, okay, some Mad Dog, yeah.
Well, I mean, Mickey's
Mickey's,
or
yep.
Little Kings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chris and I got into a little King's phase. The little
Yeah, the little bottles.
7-ounce bottles.
Yep.
And they came in an 8-pack, if I remember right.
Oh, we bought them by the case.
But you could get an 8-pack.
Yeah.
But an 8-pack of these 7-ounce bottles would fuck you up like a 12-pack of Busch or Budweiser. Because they were the first, them and Mickey's were the first over 5% beers. I think they were, what, 7?
Something
8?
like that. Something like that. Yeah. I mean,
Pepper. Oh, goddamn, they had that peppery taste to them.
not to be confused with Colt 45.
Ooh, malt liquor.
Or
Billy D.
Stroh's.
Billy D. Williams. Remember
I mean,
the commercials for Coke 45?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Hell, I remember the Stroh's commercials.
Yeah. What about the hams? From the land of high blue or sky blue waters or something like that.
Yeah.
A little hams bear.
Yep. And then you had the parody, the Bear Whiz beer, and it showed a bear pissing upstream.
Yeah.
Ham.
Did you ever stoop so low as to get Wiederman?
Never even heard of it.
That was a thing around here in the late 80s, early 90s. You could buy a case of Wiederman for $7. It was a white can, red letters. It was German beer of some kind, Wiederman. Nastiest shit you ever drank, but after you got through about 5 or 6 of them, you didn't care anymore.
Bro, let me tell you about the worst beer I have ever had. The can is white.
Letters are black.
Black stenciled letters that said
Beer. Generic beer.
My God.
Chris and I got in this phase where we were trying different shit all the time.
Much like, you guys were doing an alcohol review.
Yeah. Just
But-
putting it out to the interwebs because there was no such thing.
Exactly. And you weren't telling anybody because you were like on the DL.
Yeah. But we were at Brown Derby and we got Global beer, which was about the same price as Wiedemann. It was cheap. And when I say cheap, I'm not saying inexpensive. I'm saying cheap.
Like plastic bottle vodka.
Yeah. The only beer I've ever drank that you could have it in a cooler all day fucking long, crack that shit open and take a drink and it still tasted warm. But yeah, it was nasty.
Ugh.
Of course,
Ugh.
you talk about Colt 45, you forgot about Schlitz.
Bro, let me tell you, I got so fucked up and so sick in Okinawa, Japan, drinking OE.
Oh,
Hell yeah, I was bargaining at the fucking moon.
praying to the porcelain god.
Oh, no.
was no
We were
porcelain
on the
gods?
third floor.
Oh, okay.
Window was open.
Feel sorry for your neighbors down below.
Oh, it wasn't my building.
Right.
I was on the other side of the parking lot.
No.
Oh God. But anyways, it is smooth. It does. I can tell by drinking the Pendleton that it is a blended Canadian whiskey because it doesn't have that hard American whiskey taste, if you will.
Right.
It is.
Speaking of that VO,
Yeah.
and Seagram's was really popular. Seagram 7.
I don't even want to talk about Seagram's VO.
That
got your
Got that right.
Bottle of Seagram's VO got your nephew and I kicked out of school for a week.
Yeah.
Well, that and 3 bottles of vodka before school.
Well, you know, Vez was part of that too, wasn't
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all circles back to Vez.
Actually, it was all of our ideas.
Okay.
Um,
But he didn't say no,
no.
bastard.
Well,
Hi, Vez.
love you. Well, you know what? Let's finish it off. Solanche.
Lunche. You know, to me, it's as clean as that Moscato we had last week.
Oh, the mezcal?
The Mezcal, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not got that thick bourbon. It's almost like a Scotch or an Irish whiskey.
Now, personally,
But I can taste a little bit of the oaky,
yep.
and I can that hint of honey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting that. But for bourbon, that is.
But it's not a bourbon.
It's whiskey.
Yes,
Okay.
whiskey.
But
Blended Canadian whiskey.
Blended Canadian. That's right. Duh. But it's really fucking clean.
It is. Again, definitely something that I would have on my dry bar, and especially this one because it is the military edition. And I think like a regular bottle of Pendleton was right about that $65, $70 mark. The military edition was like right about 40. So I don't know how they did all that, but
Yeah, you'd think that one would be a little more expensive, but
right, because they're giving a portion of every bottle.
is the regular Pendleton, is it a Canadian blended too?
You know what? I honestly I couldn't tell you. I assume it is. I didn't have my glasses.
Nah.
I just saw military edition Pendleton, and I saw the price tag, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Under 50?
Hell yeah.
We'll go.
And I'd never seen this bottle.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck, got to do it.
Right.
It's definitely, it's not something that I would keep in the freezer to, get me a pull after a long, hard day. It's not even something that I would, after a day of doing yard work, it's not something that I'm gonna sit down with to cool off.
Right.
But it's something that I may put in a thermal cup full of ice and sit around a fire. Like fill that bitch up, full thing of ice, fill it up with the Pendleton Military Edition, and sit around a fire just bullshitting with everybody, fucking, taking a sip here and there.
A cup about this size.
Yeah.
And by the time you're done, it's bedtime.
You're probably fucking done.
You're probably done.
But definitely something that I would have on my dry bar. But for those of you that have seen our alcohol reviews in the past, we've done a lot of flavored stuff, whiskeys, tequilas, excuse me, rums.
Rum, yeah.
Well, not really flavored, but spiced and
rums.
regular rum.
Right.
And there's quite a few that would definitely go in the freezer.
Like I said,
But-
it surprises me of all the stuff we have tried. Outside of that one Blanco tequila that we use for a punishment shot when your phone goes off,
Yeah.
everything's been decent.
And I don't think we ever did a review of that.
No, because we didn't want to do it again.
Oh, that's right.
It's like, oh. No. But, and like I say, growing up, of course, after you've been a professional drinker for however many years, but I still, like, you got that beam somebody gave you.
Yep. Thanks, Dwight.
Took a shot of that. I was like, God, that is fucking nasty.
Right.
But the bourbons and stuff, I mean, we've had some that's better than others, of course.
Yes.
But nothing is like what.
Right.
And
nothing has.
I think our lowest score is maybe a 6.
No.
Since we went to the 10-point must system.
No, we've done. There's been one that's been a 5. We've had one that's come in at 10 out of 20.
Yeah.
15 out of 30 when we had 3 people. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, we will say that for season 4 and the alcohol reviews, there will only be 2 people on the alcohol reviews. There will be J and M. Because it's easier to keep track of it, and it's just it's easier because
we talked about doing the one with Dwight remote,
right? But I think we would work that into an actual podcast.
Yeah.
Because those that watched last season know that we don't have headphones on, so having Dwight on the phone would do us right. It'd do us no good.
Right.
But speaking of which, James, what would you rate the Pendleton Whiskey Military Edition?
For an unflavored, blended whiskey,
blended Canadian whiskey.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, and I'm going to give it an 8.
You're going to give it an 8?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's, I could definitely sit down and pour that over ice and sip on it watching a football game or whatever,
Right.
Right.
You know what? I mean, it's like I said, I would definitely have that on my dry bar. And, if I'm going to a bonfire, especially this time of year, oh, you bet your ass I'm taking that.
As we are speaking, it is January. I mean, this will come out in January.
Yes. And for me, I would definitely...
Could you see mixing it with your ginger ale?
Yes, I could see this mixing with ginger ale, and it would probably taste like really fucking good.
Right.
But at the same time, it's so fucking clean.
You don't really need the extra syrup.
I don't want to mix it. And it's not like I mix Jesse.
Right.
Because I need to.
Right.
No, the ginger ale and that honey, it just kind of plays together. It's a real good flavor.
And your night will last longer.
Exactly. Except last night.
Yeah.
I had 2 pretty decent sized glasses. I mean, nothing compared to you. But after not drinking other than having a drink on New Year's Eve, yeah. But I've got to agree.
You had a hard week like I did.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of.
Well, you talked about your last 2 days was a bitch, and I have to agree. Holidays in the middle of the week kind of ruin the fucking whole schedule of work.
Yeah, because
I'm not saying nothing against the holidays. I'm just saying when it falls on a Wednesday, it fucks up your week. At work.
Because Monday always sucks because you're coming off the weekend.
Right.
Tuesday, you're starting that battle. Wednesday is generally the day that you give 100%.
Well,
Because
if,
Thursday,
if you notice when you're paying your taxes, about Wednesday at noon is when you start making money for yourself. Sorry, didn't mean to bring you down there.
but I mean, okay, Thursday.
So Wednesday you're like, yeah, I'm making my money now. Not.
But it goes
not Uncle Sam's.
Monday you're here, Tuesday here, Wednesday you're here.
That's why they call it Hump Day.
Right. Because Thursday you're here, Friday you're like, I don't give a fuck. What are you going to say? Oh, you're going to fire me on a Friday? So I get to sleep in on a Monday? Now, the worst thing an employer can do is tell you at 10 o'clock in the morning when you started at 6:30. No, I'm sorry. It was 9. Started at 6:30, got called in the office at 9. They were going to let me go because they were downsizing. But they've already paid me for the rest of the day. And I can stay if I want to, or I can leave.
You're like, toots.
Peace out, bitches.
Last day, I ain't doing shit.
Well, I drove down to another shop where my brother was working, and I'd already been told that I already had a job there. So it was just going in and saying, hey, here I am. And
I'm
they're like,
available now.
right. And they're like, cool, we'll see you Monday.
I didn't sign a non-compete, so I'm here.
Exactly, because I wasn't salary.
Right.
But I've got to agree, you know, now I'm basing this off of not just a Canadian whiskey, but a blended, because we have had blended before. But as on a blended whiskey, I've got to give it an 8 because it is very clean.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering. You know, taking a drink after taking a drag, taking a drink after not having a drag for a while. I mean, because fuck, I had to relight my cigar.
Right.
It was still very clean tasting.
Right. To me, it almost like I said, it's almost like a scotch. How clean it is.
You know, I could see that.
That's the best way I can describe a scotch versus a whiskey.
Right.
To me, a lot of whiskeys, you know, with the oak barrels and stuff, and you get that char.
That heavy char.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where scotches are, I mean, I know they're aged in barrels and everything, but it's not as thick of a.
Right.
And you can almost see it when you pour it.
Right.
You know, that one's thicker than the other. But this here was like super clean.
Yes.
I mean, I could see, you know, that was just on ice. I could see putting a splash of water on it. You know, I wouldn't want to flavor it with any kind of soda or
you know what?
No,
you know what I
water or nothing.
You know what I could see in there? I'm gonna completely throw you off your game.
Uh-oh.
Lemon wedge.
Kind of like what we said about the
tequila, the mezcal
with
with just dropping a lime in it.
Right.
But with this one, a lemon.
That could possibly work.
Give it just a little bit of tartness,
like I said
but at
before,
the same time, bring the sweetness into it.
I'm not big on fruit in my drinks, but I could see that.
Yes.
You know.
Well, and there's a thing about having fruit in your drink versus having something that accents it. Having something that looks good, you know, a little umbrella with a pineapple and a cherry, you know, or versus like a good margarita is going to have a lime slice or a lime wedge.
Yeah, because they always
they
always salt the rim and put the lime on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of people, they'll take that lime and they'll squeeze it in. Now, if I'm drinking what I know now, if I'm ordering a margarita at a bar or a Mexican restaurant,
right,
I'm calling the tequila. I don't want bullshit tequila because most of that tequila isn't real tequila.
It's like Pepe Lopez or some shit like that.
It's that stereotypical name.
Yeah.
But there you go, folks.
If they offer the gold, it's a little bit better. But they got Patron.
Don Julio. Yeah. But anyways, the Pendleton Whiskey Military Edition, a 16 out of 20. If you find it, pick up a bottle. Have it on your dry bar at the very least.
Yeah.
Because, again, they advertise and they give to the Woodford Foundation, the Bob Woodford Foundation, and they say it on the front label. They've got your 6. But you have just watched a brand new episode of Stu Him Productions presents
J&M Solve the World
Alcohol Review. Recorded live from the J&M Bar and Lounge.
I have been James.
And I have been Matt. And on behalf of James and our whiskey, you keep one fist in the gold, one foot in the gutter, and we will be seeing you.
Peace.